Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks. I've had a request to do a vlog on something that I would not consider myself an expert on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert on anything. Most of the stuff I do on here is just to give you guys like a peek into the world that we live in over the last sort of 19 years, so that you can benefit from my experiences or my failures. But I got a phone call last night from someone, one of my awesome, amazing ASD rockers. No, not everybody gets my phone number, but she's been with us for many years, since almost, oh my gosh, probably from the beginning, I reckon. And back when I was just pretty small and probably only had 2 or 3 followers, she was one of them. And I got a phone call last night where, so this particular person has 3 children, 2 of which have ASD. And she needed help because the cat had passed away and she just wasn't 100% sure how to handle it. And then, so I chatted with her daughter, and then, she said to me, do you think you could do a vlog on this? And I said, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, each child obviously is going to react differently to the passing of an animal. And I actually had a chat with Stephen about it as well, because I guess in the world of autism, I'm always talking about, not surprising people with information, and he was in line with that. He said, have you heard about the cat on the roof story? And I was like, I don't know the cat on the roof story. And he said, well, if you know that you've got a pet that's going to pass, you say, over 4 days, you take 4 days and you say, the cat is climbing up onto the roof, and then the next day, the cat's already passed, I assume, and the next day you say to the kids, the cat is up on the roof, and then the cat's been on the roof for 2 days and hasn't had anything, and then on the 4th to eat, and then on the 4th day, the cat's fallen off the roof, so it sort of leads them up to it. And I think that's a really cool tactic. It's actually the tactic that I took last night, but with a very different metaphor. So it's exactly sort of the way I came at it, but I put it in a much more real terms, I guess, because the daughter is older, and so the way I look at it is, there are things in this world that are right and there are things in this world that are wrong. So when my grandfather passed, it was terribly painful, terribly painful, but it was right. A grandparent should pass, and we should, and our parents should pass, right? It's not something we want to have happen, and it is very sad when it happens. However, it's right that a parent or a grandparent should pass. If you're burying a child or a grandchild, that is wrong. There's something wrong in the order of things. I personally think, much harder to deal with, to comprehend, because it's just not right to be burying a child, or someone younger than you. It's easier to process that information if it's gone in the correct order. It doesn't make it any less painful. Now, cats and dogs have a much shorter life span than humans, and in a lot of ways Animals are fantastic to have in your life to introduce the concept of death, because it is much easier to learn about the pain and loss of a cat than it is about the pain and loss of a parent. Even though it's still right, even more right is that we learn about it through something that we are not relying on as you know, to survive, living with, eating with. You know, it's a pet, and it does hurt, but it is right in the order of things. Now, in this situation, there was, you know, the cat unfortunately got run over. Terrible circumstances. So there's no, you know, it's not like I give the boys a warning all the time about our dog Chops. She's old. She's really old. And after what she ate the other day, I'm amazed she didn't burst. But I'm always saying to them, guys, animals die. Right? One day Chops will die. So make sure that when that happens, right, you can think, well, you know what? I don't regret anything. That's the most important thing that I would say when it comes to death. A friend of mine's father passed recently, and they were so close. This family are so close. You know, we're talking, this is a fully neurotypical family. I've never seen such a more neurotypical family. Both parents, both daughters, completely typical. And her father passed very suddenly, very, very surprisingly. And when I was at the funeral, I was speaking to the sister, because they are all so crazy close. And I said to her, you know, you have the one thing that I got with my grandfather. There is nothing that you will say, I wish I had have, you know, told him I loved him more, or I wish I had had that opportunity to do this one thing with him. These guys went on holidays together every year. You know, they're such a close unit. You don't have any regrets. And it's the same with my grandfather. When he passed, and it's, you know, it's really painful, and a lot of it is routine. So, you know, if you're used to coming home and there's that wagging tail, or there's that, you know, whatever it happens to be, the cat jumps up every time you're trying to type on the computer or something like that. It's the routine times that are really difficult. With humans, especially with my grandfather, who raised me, the hardest times were not the sad times, which I thought they would be. They were the happy times when I wanted to go and share and say, oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe what happened. I can't believe it. Those were the times that were the hardest. It wasn't the sad times where I was feeling, you know, sometimes now and then I would go, oh gee, I wish my grandpa was here. But really it was when successes and happiness was happening that I really, really missed him. So the routine of either not having that dog or that cat, those moments will be difficult. But routine usually only takes a couple of weeks cognitively, even less for some people, especially if you're on the spectrum. Bo, you knew that a routine could either be set or destroyed within 3 days. 3 days was it. We always knew, and that was everything. Every routine, if we needed to change a routine or start something up, it would take 3 days before that absolutely was set or broken. Every person is going to be different, obviously. Now, I would really encourage anyone that is dealing with kids who have ASD to prepare for death in a way that says, we all know that we're all going to die. I mean, who wants to live forever? It would be horrific. I couldn't imagine a fate worse. than to live forever and watch everybody else that you love die around you. That there is a proper order, and that sometimes that order is broken, but there is a proper order, and that we can cognitively deal with it if that order is maintained. Being pets, you know, come and go throughout our lives, and you know, parents and grandparents should pass before children. So the one thing you can do for yourself is have that in the back of your head. One day my pet will die, but the question really is, did I treat that pet well? Did I give it all the love that it needed or wanted? Do I have any regrets? And that will help them set up for human passing. You know, and also it will also help them set up their relationships in their lives, understanding that they are finite, and that relationships, you know, with parents, with siblings, with anything, will one day come to an end. Now, there are some situations where you're not going to be able to say, well, no, I've got no regrets. But really, I mean, it's not like I never had a fight with my grandfather. That's not what I'm talking about. The regret will come to, you know, I wish I had spent more time with him or the pet. I wish I had told him, you know, because we often say in these times of remorse, I wish I had hugged him just got one more hug in, or I wish I had just, you know, done, you know, given him one more pat, or been able to see him one more time. So make sure that we're living every day in the relationships that we have, understanding that every day is an opportunity to do that, and that when the past, and that will increase the quality of all relationships, even especially between parents and children. You know, if a child understands that parent and their life expectancy, you know, give them a really reasonable life expectancy. We're all living to, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous, but the average, obviously, women's lifespans are about 4 years longer than men, and we're all living now into our 80s easily. Which by the time our kids are growing up, probably, well, depending on health and well-being, obviously, nutrition, those sorts of things, possibly, you know, but the average will probably be late 80s, early 90s. So understanding that, you know, saying, well, I'm 45, so I've got another 45 years left in me, really, if the way I look at it. Hopefully I'm fit, I'm strong. You know, if I'm not completely insane by the end of it because of the stress and pressure being placed on me by the NDIS and the things that I've had to go through, the absolute horror and mental anguish that I've been put through, you know, assuming that I can push through and keep fighting every single day of my life for my kids, I should physically, with the way that I am, live to be about 90. But if we give them that finite time, I mean, I've never lived a day personally with my kids. Like, if my kids died tomorrow, which I wouldn't ever want to even imagine, but there's nothing I could say I wish I had done better by them. I cannot say it. I have done everything humanly possible in regards to financially, emotionally, physically with Bo. I have done everything humanly possible to make sure that those kids have 100% the best life that they could have. Now, kids are going to go through phases, all right? They're going to be teens. You've all seen me go through a bit of a teen phase. And they're going to be brats, and they're going to be horrible, and, you know, they're going to do things that's going to cause issues. But ultimately, in the end, what we need to look at is, what would I regret if my mum or my dad passed, if my children passed? Would I have any regrets? Did I do everything I could? And that will make the relationships in all your families, and all whether it's pet, whether it's sibling, whether it's, you know, to give them an understanding of that. So that's the way I tackle it, guys. I'm doing this vlog because I was asked to, and I hope it's good enough. I hope you get the understanding and idea of what I'm saying. So ASD rocks.